Welcome you to another edition of Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. We are broadcasting live on our Airhogs Ustream channel, and we are about to close out this road trip with the final game of a three-game set between the Grand Prairie Airhogs and the Wichita Wingnuts on top of the South Division, as they have been almost all season. Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Humphrey alongside James Nasser. He'll bring you the fourth, fifth, and sixth, but for now, I'll bring you the first three here from Lawrence Dumont Stadium in Wichita, Kansas. Right now, the Airhogs are on a 5-game losing streak on this 6-game road trip, losing the first two of this series. Last night's loss was a 4-1 defeat, and getting the win for Wichita last night was Tim Brown, the starter. 6 innings worked and only 1 run allowed on 7 hits, 3 strikeouts and 2 walks. Ryan Searle worked all 8 innings that the Airhogs pitched in last night. That ended up getting the loss and 4 runs allowed on 12 hits, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts for Searle, even though he did not need any help from the bullpen to get out of his outing last night. Tonight, it will be one of the Wingnuts' many aces on this pitching staff. It is going to be John Link, the right-hander. Link this season has more wins than any pitcher in this league. 11-2 record, a 3.47 ERA. He will make start number 19 this afternoon in the final game of this 3-game set. 3 starts against Grand Prairie and no decisions. So he'll try to look for his first win against this Grand Prairie Airhogs team here this afternoon. This is the lineup that he will face from the Grand Prairie Airhogs under manager Eric Champion. Jimmy Mojica to lead it off at shortstop, then batting second, Alex Nunez at second base. Batting third, the all-star third baseman Abel Nieves, and then batting cleanup, Jason Bonts at first. The DH Brian Myro bats fifth. He's back in the lineup this afternoon. Batting sixth, Madison Carter at left field, and then batting seventh, Frazier Hall in right. Batting eighth, the center fielder, Eric Baker. And then batting ninth, Ryan Gaspora, getting the start at catcher. So now Jimmy Mojica will start things off. First batter of the inning for the Airhogs as John Link winds up and delivers the first pitch at 2:10 p.m. local time, and it's called a strike on the outside corner. Mojica last night broke his slump going 2 for 3. Didn't score a run, however, and he pops one high in the air to right field where Carlo Testa is positioned, and he comes in just a couple of steps to make that easy out in right, 1 down in the first. Defensive lineup for the Wichita Wingnuts looks like this. David Espinosa at first base, Taylor Oldham at second, Ryan Corey at shortstop, Chris McClendon at third, Jake Lucci in left, Jared McDonald in center, Carlo Testa in right field, and behind the plate catching is Brent Dean. 1 out, nobody on. Alex Nunez bats now. And the windup, the first pitch from John Link. Swung on and missed. The pitch breaking low and away there from the swing of Alex Nunez. 4-game hit streak was snapped for him last night, going 1 for 3. He did have a sacrifice fly, driving in the Airhogs' only run of last night's game. He calls time and steps out of the batter's box and throws away his sunglasses, it appears there, and someone's going to have to retrieve that. So he's trying to see the ball a little better without the shades as the 0-1 comes from Link, and it's way outside this time, ball 1. Alex Nunez, 4th best batting average still in the American Association. It dropped to .351 after his 0 for 3 night at the plate in the second game of this 3-game series. He swings and foul tips one into the screen. 1 ball and 2 strikes, the count now to Nunez. He's batted second in the lineup ever since he joined the Airhogs way back in mid-June, replacing the former Airhog Brandon Pinckney, who played there all of last season and the first part of this year. He lines one into left. It falls for a base hit into left field for Alex Nunez, and he starts this afternoon off with a single. 1 out and 1 on now for the Airhogs, who will bring Abel Nieves to the plate now. Airhogs last night left 8 men on base. First game of this series, they left 9. And that's been a problem for them on this road trip, as well as the last weekend of the previous homestand they had as well against Amarillo, as Abel Nieves will take a pitch in tight for ball 1. Nieves' average dropped to .331 on the season after he went 0 for 4 last night as well. He did reach on a fielder's choice. Link set from the stretch. Here is the 1-0. And this is on the inside corner for called strike 1. Call there by home plate umpire Brian Child, and Trent Delmont will make the calls at first base, and David Frame will be at third. That's your umpire crew for this afternoon's game. The ball and a strike and the pitch, and the runner was going on the foul tip by Abel Nieves and went straight into his body, and it'll be a ball and 2 strikes the count, and Nunez will trot back to first base. Jason Botts on deck for the Air Hogs, still scoreless in the top of the first. Nieves against his former team is batting .322 in 15 games. He has 4 runs batted in those contests. Won the batting title with Wichita last year with a .357 average. Ball and 2 strikes the count. Lynx set again. And here comes the 1-2 delivery. It's a little high this time. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Nieves. Well, John Link once again leading this pitching staff for Wichita. 11 wins, just 2 losses on the season. And it's certainly a statement when you can lead a rotation like this one. As great as Wichita's pitching staff has been this year, that is line foul out of play by Abel Nieves. Still 2-2 the count. However, John Link this season against the Air Hogs hasn't pitched his best outings. No decisions in 3 starts, and he hasn't gone longer than 5 1/3 innings in any of those 3 starts. So trying to improve his performance against the Air Hogs this season with this start, and he will fan Abel Nieves on that high fastball there. Nieves chasing, but coming up with nothing on out number 2. So now it's 2 outs and a man on first for the Air Hogs in the first inning of this series finale. Jason Botts, the next batter. Botts last night went 2 for 3 with a couple of singles. He also reached on a walk. .62 runs batted in this year. Fell out of the top 5 in the league without getting one last night as Link delivers, and it is outside on the fastball. 1-0 the count to Botts. Switch hitter batting lefty against Link, the righty. Link in his last start got a win against the Lincoln Salt Dogs in 6 innings of work. Allowed 6 runs, 5 of them earned on 10 hits. 1 walk and 4 strikeouts in that outing. Delivers 1 low and away, and it's now 2-0 to Jason Botts. Nunez at first, 2 gone in the top of the first. Air Hogs now with their longest losing streak of the season at 5 games lost in a row, as the 2-0 is a little high of the zone to Botts, and it's now 3 balls and no strikes. Their previous high was 4 games on the losing streak. That was set way back in the middle part of June. Lost 1 game against Wichita, the second of a doubleheader, and then got swept by the Winnipeg Goldeyes on the road. That is called strike 1 on the outside corner to Jason Botts and moves the count to 3-1. So the Air Hogs have done well to not let a string of losses affect their season, but down the stretch here in the latter part of this 2014 campaign, they're starting to fall back a little bit more, and the playoffs just seem less and less likely, as that'll be ball 4. Nunez was running on the play, but it won't matter. Botts draws the walk and puts runners on first and second. Now the batter will be the DH, Brian Myro. Not in the lineup last night. The DH last night was Matthew Burns. Myro in the first game of this series went 0 for 3 and was subbed out by pinch hitter Ryan Gaspora in the 9th. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. And Link ready for the first delivery, and here it comes. It's right in the middle for called strike 1. So Myro getting a day off last night after being in the lineup ever since he was activated from the disabled list way back in June. He will swing and miss at that low fastball from John Link and fall behind 0-2 in the count. Brian Myro now batting .241 this year. A couple of home runs and 17 runs batted in. Made his 2014 debut against Wichita way back on June 24th. Outside on the next pitch from Link. And it's a ball and 2 strikes now to Myro, the 37-year-old player coach. Runners on first and second base for the Air Hogs. They got that in the top of the first inning of last night's game as well, but weren't able to score a run in the first as the 1-2 is delivered outside again by Link, and it evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Madison Carter on deck for the Air Hogs. If Myro can extend the inning here in the first. Link looks in and now sets it behind his right ear. Here comes the 2-2 pitch, swung on and missed. Changeup sneaked under the swing of Brian Myro. And a couple of strikeouts for Link in his first inning. Leaves 2 runners on base, no run score for the Air Hogs on 1 hit, and we'll go to the bottom of the first, where the Wingnuts will bat for the first time this afternoon, with the score still 0-0 here in Wichita. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs baseball. And welcome back to the bottom of the first inning here in Wichita. 0-0 the score in the series finale here at Lawrence Dumont Stadium. The starter for the Air Hogs today will be Danny Gutierrez. Gutierrez will make start number 7 in an Air Hogs uniform this season. Overall, he has a record of 3-6. That goes back to his days in 2014 when he was with the Fargo Moorhead Redhawks earlier this year. With the Air Hogs, he has a record of 1-3 and an ERA of 4.08. One start against Wichita, that was back when he was with Fargo, and he got a loss in 5 2/3, allowed 2 runs on 6 hits and 4 walks and 2 strikeouts for Gutierrez, 27-year-old native of California, and this is the lineup he will face from the Wichita Wingnuts under manager Kevin Hooper. Ryan Corey, the shortstop, leads it off, and then following him, second in the lineup, Jake Lucci, the left fielder. Then batting third, the first baseman, David Espinosa. Cleanup hitter is Brent Cleveland, occupying the DH slot tonight. Batting fifth, Carlo Testa, the right fielder. And batting sixth, Chris McClendon at third base. Batting seventh, the catcher, Brent Dean. Batting eighth, Jared McDonald. New insertion into the lineup for Wichita. He'll play in center field and bat eighth. And then batting ninth, Taylor Oldham, the second baseman. Ryan Corey, the all-star shortstop for the Wichita Wingnuts, leads things off. 2 for 4 last night, a double and a run scored. And this first pitch is going to plunk him near his head. Appeared to come off of his shoulder blade and possibly the back of his helmet. And he is down on his knees in pain. The trainer quickly out to check on him. Appears to be all right and taking off his leg gear there and is just getting a little bit of a checkup from the trainer there. And concussion protocol probably taking place as he will walk over to first. It appeared to nail him near his helmet. And I don't know if it landed on the back of his helmet or on his shoulder blade. But certainly a dangerous moment. He will take first. And the first pitch from Danny Gutierrez, he plunks a batter and now will face Jake Lucci, the left fielder, who's had a very nice series, 5 for 9 hitting. Last night, 3 for 4. Grabbed a double, scored 2 runs, and drove in a run as well. In 18 games with Wichita this season, he's batting .403. Squares to bunt, it's outside for ball 1. Jake Lucci earlier this season played for the Brownsville Charros in the United League and then signed with Wichita a few weeks ago. It's been quite impressive for him. Left-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher. Gutierrez sit at the letters. And here comes the 1-0. It's low in the dirt. I should say the turf, though. It's not dirt on the batter's circle. An all-turf field instead of the pitcher's mound. 2 balls and no strikes to Jake Lucci. Lucci is from Fairview, Texas. He's 25 years old and still listed as a rookie on the roster. Here comes the 2-0. That is swung on, lined foul down the left field line. Land just beyond the Wichita bullpen into the left field corner. 2 balls and a strike to Jake Lucci, the left fielder. David Espinosa on deck for Wichita, who are batting .310 as a team against the Airhogs this season. And this series has been no exception, getting double-digit hits in both of these first 2 games. Squares to bunt, and it bunts it down the pitcher's mound, and a barehand catch by Danny Gutierrez gets the out at first base on Jake Lucci just in time, about a half step there. And that'll move Ryan Corey to second base on the sac bunt by Lucci. 1 down and a runner in scoring position for David Espinosa. 1 for 3 last night was Espinosa with an RBI double. And he got a triple in the first game of this 3-game set. Facing Gutierrez on the left-handed side of the plate. Here comes the first delivery, and it's up high for ball 1. Espinosa, a former Airhog, and earlier this season was with the Kansas City T-Bones. Didn't hit very well against the Airhogs in 2 series against them in his time in Kansas City. Only grabbed 2 base hits in 25 at-bats. Pitch to Espinosa on the 1-0 is on the outside corner this time for called strike 1. Brent Cleveland on deck for Wichita with runner on second base and 1 out. Espinosa with Wichita this season is batting .288 in 21 games. 3 home runs, 8 driven in. 1-1 pitch upcoming. Ryan Corey taking a jump on the baseline there. It's blocked by Brian Gaspora. Slips on the turf, and Corey will not go to third as Gaspora does handle it just in time. Gaspora getting the start behind the dish in place of the Airhogs' usual catcher, Brian Peterson. Gaspora's first start behind the plate this season. He's been a DH in the starting lineup for the Airhogs a few times in his brief appearance on the active roster this season for the Airhogs. 2 balls and a strike. The pitch from Gutierrez is swung on and popped high in the air on the left side. Drifting into foul territory. Madison Carter seeing if he can catch it, and he will just barely miss it as it bounces off the turf. Appeared to be just about a couple of strides away from being able to lift up his glove and make the out, but didn't want to risk injury there on this turf, and it'll be strike 2 to David Espinosa. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count to the 32-year-old veteran, a native of Venezuela. Right now he lives in Miami, Florida. Runner on second, 1 gone in the first for Wichita. Here comes the 2-2, and it's hit high in the air to right field. Frazier Hall taking a few steps back now, and he'll make the catch. Tagging at second and going to third is Ryan Corey. 2 down now for the Wingnuts in the first, and the next batter will be Brent Cleveland. Here's your defensive lineup for the Grand Prairie Airhogs real quick. At first base, Jason Botts. At second base, Alex Nunez. At shortstop, Jimmy Mojica. Third base, Abel Nieves. In left field, Madison Carter. In center field, Eric Baker. In right field, Frazier Hall. And then behind the plate catching, as I mentioned earlier, Ryan Gaspora. First start at the catcher position for the Airhogs this year. 2 down, a runner at third, and Brent Cleveland is the batter. Cleveland has been the starting center fielder all season for the Wingnuts, now occupying the DH hole as he takes strike 1 on the inside edge. Jared McDonald, the Wingnuts' newest addition to the roster, is getting the start defensively in center field, batting 8th in the lineup this afternoon. Cleveland has had quite a fine season with Wichita, batting .365. That's the second best batting average in the league. He also has the second most RBIs in the league at 68. And here's the 0-1. It is chopped foul on a half swing, and it is just going to go foul as it did land in fair territory down the first baseline momentarily, but then taking a weird bounce off of the turf and landing beyond the foul line, and that will be strike 2 to Cleveland. Cleveland was 0 for 4 in the first game, but last night broke that slump, going 3 for 4 with a run driven in. Also stole 2 bases against Brian Peterson in last night's game. He's got a runner at third with 2 outs. Here in the bottom of the first inning, Gutierrez with the 0-2, and it's a breaking ball low and away. Making the count 1-2 strikes to Brent Cleveland. Second year with Wichita. Last season, he only batted .244. And certainly improving here in 2014 for Kevin Hooper. Carlo Testa on deck, 1-2 strikes to Brent Cleveland, the 30-year-old veteran out of Austin, Texas. Here's the 1-2 from Gutierrez. That is called strike 3. Finding the outer corner on the fastball was Gutierrez, and he earns a strikeout to end the first. So no runs, no hits, and a man left on third base after the hit batter by Gutierrez. He gets out of the first without a run allowed, and we are still scoreless going to the second here in Wichita. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. After one, we're scoreless here at Lawrence Dumont Stadium in Wichita, Kansas. Airhogs and Wingnuts closing out this three-game set this afternoon. Airhogs will lead it off with the left fielder Madison Carter in this top of the second. Carter last night went 0 for 4. Now batting .262 on the year in his first professional season of baseball. Faces off against John Link for the first time in his career, and now here comes the pitch from Link, and it's called strike 1. Madison Carter, the youngest member of the Airhogs roster, 22 years old, plays college ball at the University of Texas, fresh off an appearance in the College World Series this year in Omaha. As Link winds up and delivers the 0-1. It's low and away on the fastball this time. A ball and a strike. Frazier Hall and Eric Baker also due up in this top of the second after Madison Carter. Righty versus righty. Link winds and delivers the 1-1. Swung on and missed. He may have gotten the tip there, and Brian Child says no, it's a ball and 2 strikes. Madison Carter now faces a 1-2. Checks his swing on a pitch low and outside. Even count now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Airhogs now 5-10 against Wichita on the season. And this has given them a 5-game losing streak, losing this road series. That will get Madison Carter looking. Link earns strikeout number 3 on the afternoon. And he will bring up the right fielder, Frazier Hall. Hall went 1 for 4 last night with a single in the 4th inning of the second game of this 3-game set. And he still has the best batting average on the Airhogs against Wichita this year. He's at .400 on the season against Wichita pitching. He'll look at a pitch down for ball 1. Hall, a left-handed batter against Link, the righty on the mound, who now starts his windup for the 1-0. And it's swung on and missed by Frazier Hall. A ball and a strike to the 26-year-old right fielder. Started out most of this season as the third baseman for the Airhogs, sharing time at the third base position with Abel Nieves. Also has used himself at first base, but now the right fielder for the Air Hogs, as some of their outfielders have been injured and or cut from the team, as he will look at called strike 2 on the high and outer corner there, found by John Link. It's a ball and 2 strikes with Eric Baker on deck. Frazier Hall against Wichita this year has a couple of home runs and 8 runs driven in, including a go-ahead 2-run RBI single in the top of the 11th inning on a game on June 23rd here at this stadium. Big clutch moment for Frazier Hall as he looks at a pitch outside from Link there. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the Louisiana native. Link nods now and starts his windup for the 2-2 pitch to Frazier Hall, and it's taken outside under a check swing from Hall. Moves the count full. John Link played his college ball at Bluefish College. Lives in Wake Forest, North Carolina now. He will get Frazier Hall swinging. Hall chases a pitch low in the zone, and that's strikeout number 4 for John Link in the early going of this start. Link will now face Eric Baker. Baker brings a 7-game hitting streak to this afternoon's game. Went 1 for 4, scoring the Air Hogs' only run last night. First pitch to him. He's taken for strike 1 on the inner half. Well, John Link has been on fire this season for Wichita, and that's been expected. But he hasn't had a loss as Baker swings and misses at a pitch low. Link hasn't had a loss since June 15th against the Amarillo Sox. Ever since then, he's either had wins or no decisions. That pitch gets away from the catcher, Dean. It was low and outside to Baker. Moves the count to a ball and 2 strikes. The catcher, Ryan Gaspora, is on deck for the Air Hogs. 2 outs, and the base is empty in the top of the 2nd inning. No score here in Wichita. Air Hogs want to snap a 5-game losing streak before coming back home for a 3-game set with the Laredo Lemurs. Baker swings and foul tips one into the catcher, Dean. Keeps the count at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Baker on the season, batting .224 in his first professional year. 22 runs batted in. Possibly having a better year as a defensive center fielder. Has made plenty of diving catches for the Air Hogs, saving a lot of extra base hits to the opposition as that pitch is in tight for ball 2. Baker, an Oklahoma native, 26 years old. College ball was played at Rogers State in Claremore, Oklahoma. Link with the 2-2, swung on and missed, and Link with a 1-2-3 inning strikes out the side. And after 1.5, it's still scoreless here in Wichita in the final game of this 3-game series between the Air Hogs and the Wingnuts. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Now the bottom of the 2nd inning here in Wichita, the Grand Prairie Air Hogs and Wingnuts are still scoreless here. In the final game of this 3-game set, Carlo Testa leads it off. against Danny Gutierrez, the Airhawks starter. Testa last night for the Wingnuts went 1 for 4. And then the game prior to that one, he went 2 for 5 with a home run. He'll take strike one from Danny Gutierrez on the inner corner. Testa this season has played in left field and right field for Kevin Hooper this year as Gutierrez winds and delivers the 0-1. Swung on and missed on a pitch low and in to Carlo Testa. And Gutierrez gets him to chase there. No balls and 2 strikes. The third baseman, Chris McClendon, and the catcher, Brent Dean, are up after Testa in this bottom of the second. Here comes the windup in the 0-2. That is bounced slowly on the ground to the second baseman, Nunez. Charges in, throws a little bit across his body there, and gets the out at first base. On Testa, the right fielder, 1 down.
Now batting for the Wingnuts, third baseman, number 5, Chris McClendon.
So now Gutierrez will face the third baseman, Chris McClendon. He also went 1 for 4 in last night's ball game. Has also made some nice defensive plays in this series against the Airhogs. A couple of sliding stops. And that's to be expected of a third baseman of McClendon's caliber. Left-handed batter against Gutierrez, the right-handed pitcher. First pitch is on the outside corner for called strike one. Well, McClendon this year, .280 hitter in 65 games with the Wingnuts. And he's got 2 home runs and 35 runs driven in. It's up high and a little outside the plate from Gutierrez on the 0-1 delivery. That'll move the count to a ball and a strike with Brent Dean, the catcher, on deck. Long stare down between Gutierrez and the batter, Chris McClendon. The 1-1 is swung on and missed. Little foul tip, actually, said Brian Child, the home plate umpire. And it's a ball and 2 strikes nonetheless to Chris McClendon, the third baseman, batting 6th in the lineup. Previous games in this series, he occupied the 7 hole for Kevin Hooper as the 1-2 pitch is jammed on the ground to the shortstop. Mojica goes to his right, throws across his body, gets the out at first base. Mojica with a little bit of a rainbow throw there from shortstop, but it was in time to Botts at first base to nab Chris McClendon for out number 2. Mojica seems to make some of these ground ball plays look a little bit easier than they actually are. 2 outs, bases empty. Brent Dean, the catcher, is the next to bat. Dean last night went 0 for 3, but gets the start in lieu of Chris McMurray, the usual catcher for Wichita, as he pops one foul down the right-hand side. So Kevin Hooper is denying us of all 3 mix on the roster for Wichita. Back-to-back-to-back in the lineup with Dean batting between Chris McClendon and Jared McDonald. Could have had McMurray, McClendon, and McDonald. 6, 7, and 8 in the lineup for Wichita. Dean will take called strike 2 on the lower third of the zone from Danny Gutierrez, who's only thrown 1 pitch out of the zone in this inning. Now he winds and delivers the 0-2. Up high this time to Gasbora, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. Jared McDonald is on deck. Brent Dean now in his 14th game as a member of the Wingnuts and his 10th start of the season. He has 1 home run and 4 RBIs and a .289 batting average. The pitch from Gutierrez is an off-speeder. Down and away, and it'll make it 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Dean, prior to coming to Wichita, was a member of the Milwaukee Brewers minor league system, playing for their high A team, Brevard County. The pitch from Gutierrez, called strike 3 on the outside corner. And Dean gets rung up for out number 3, a 1-2-3 inning by Danny Gutierrez. So both pitchers sitting down, batters 1, 2, 3 in the second, and we're still scoreless after 2 here in Wichita. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. And we welcome you back to Lawrence Dumont Stadium for the top of the third inning between the Airhogs and the Wingnuts in the final game of this three-game set. Leading off the top of the third for the Airhogs is the newly activated catcher Ryan Gaspora, now making his third appearance for the Airhogs since being activated to the roster earlier this week against the Laredo Lemurs. Now starting in the 9-hole in the lineup and playing at catcher. He will look at a pitch outside from John Link. That's ball one. Gaspora against the Wingnuts this year is 0 for 4. He started in one game against the team way back on June 23rd. He pops one foul down the left field side. It's a ball and a strike. Left-handed batter against Link, the right-handed pitcher. Gaspora still looking for his first base hit of the season. Last season played for the Alexandra Aces. Here comes the 1-1, and it's swung on and missed. Now it's a ball and 2 strikes. Gaspora is the beer batter tonight at Lawrence Dumont Stadium, so fans hoping that he gets one more strike here for a discount on beer at the stadium. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the rookie Gaspora. Here comes the windup of the pitch from Link. Swung on and missed. Under a changeup there, and Link has 5 consecutive strikeouts to give him 6 in the early going of this 19th start of the season for him. Struck out the side in the second inning, sitting down the Airhogs 1-2-3, and now he'll go back to the top of the order. Take a look at some other scores around the American Association. One of them in the top of the second inning, the first of a doubleheader between Fargo-Moorhead and Three Rivers. Fargo on top 10-4 in the top of the seventh, so that one's about to go final in a doubleheader game. The second will be upcoming shortly after that one as Jimmy Mojica takes called strike one. Bottom of the fifth inning in St. Paul, New Jersey with a 6-0 lead on the road on the St. Paul Saints. Mojica swings and misses at another pitch just on the outer half there for a called strike, or for a swinging strike two, I should say. Mojica 0 for 1 this afternoon so far with a fly out to right. Those are the games that are going on right now. In addition to this one, as Mojica will pop this pitch, foul down the right-hand side, and it will find its way out of play. Games that are scheduled to start later today. Winnipeg will visit Sioux Falls in the final game of that series at 4:05 p.m. Kansas City will host Gary South Shore at 5:05. Laredo and Amarillo will play a doubleheader today after Amarillo's field burning incident yesterday, trying to dry the field from rain from Friday. As this is popped down the right field line, it just bounces foul into the right field corner. Testa was chasing it but didn't have a play, and it'll still be a no balls and 2 strike count to Jimmy Mojica. And the other matchup this afternoon in the American Association, the Sioux City Explorers hosting their Central Division opponent, the Lincoln Salt Dogs. That'll start at 6:05 p.m. this evening. No balls and 2 strikes to Jimmy Mojica. Bases empty with 1 out in the top of the third. Still scoreless here at Lawrence Dumont Stadium. Wichita Wingnut starter John Link gets Jimmy Mojica swinging there. That is 6 consecutive strikeouts for Link. Off to a tremendous start here against the Airhogs in this series finale. 2 outs, nobody on base. And the next batter will be Alex Nunez. Got a single in the first inning. So far, that's the only base hit of the game. And Link winds up and delivers to Nunez. That is called strike 1 on a breaking pitch, just finding the lower end of the zone, strike 1. Nunez left-handed batter against Link, the righty on the mound. Here comes the 0-1. Swung on and missed this time. Dean couldn't handle it. Just bounces to his right side, and snowballs and 2 strikes the count nonetheless. Alex Nunez will be followed by Abel Nieves if he can reach base here. Nunez in last night's game went 0 for 3, drove in the only run of the game on a sacrifice fly in the 5th inning. Airhogs have managed only 5 runs in the first 2 of this 3-game set against Wichita pitching. Link nods, and here comes the 0-2 pitch to Alex Nunez. It is lined foul down the left field side, finding its way out of the stadium. Still a 2-strike count to Alex Nunez, the 33-year-old veteran and a native of Venezuela. Now the windup in the 0-2 pitch from John Link. It bounces in front of home plate. Dean blocks it in front of him, and it will now be 1 ball and 2 strikes the count against Alex Nunez. Nunez, before he announced his retirement in 2012, played 5 seasons in the Can-Am League with the Quebec Capitals and Worcester. Decided to come back and play professionally this year in 2014. Started out with the Sugarland Skeeters and in mid-June signed with the Airhogs. The 1-2 swung on and missed on a pitch low in the zone, and for the second straight inning, Link sits down the Airhogs 1-2-3 on 3 strikeouts. That gives him 8 on the afternoon, and now we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning, still looking for our first run of the game here in Wichita. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Bottom of the 3rd inning, Airhogs and Wingnuts still scoreless. As leading off this bottom of the 3rd will be Jared McDonald, the newest outfielder on the Wingnuts roster. Was signed by the team a couple of days ago and now makes his 2014 Wingnuts debut. Left-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher, Gutierrez. Crowding the plate there is Jared McDonald, as he'll take a pitch outside for ball 1. His feet are just maybe an inch or 2 from the inner line on the batter's box on the left-handed side of the plate as Gutierrez delivers a pitch outside once again, 2-0. So McClendon probably looking to drive a pitch a little inside from Gutierrez, or forcing him to pitch a little outside. Taylor Oldham and Ryan Corey are up after McDonald as he takes a pitch high this time and works the count to 3-0. McDonald did play for Wichita for the majority of the 2013 season. In 2013, he played a total of 97 games and batted .301. He takes called strike 1. He's now on his 4th team in this 2014 season. He started out the year in the Atlantic League with Southern Maryland, then went to the Frontier League to play for Southern Illinois, and he was just acquired by the Wingnuts in a trade with the St. Paul Saints on August, way back in earlier this weekend. So his 4th team and his 3rd league this season. 3 balls and 2 strikes the count to McDonald. Gutierrez with the payoff pitch inside, and he'll draw a walk to lead off this 3rd. First walk allowed by Danny Gutierrez. He's also hit a batter this afternoon in the early going of this 7th start of the year as a member of the Airhogs. Runner on first and nobody out. The next batter, Taylor Oldham, batting in the 9 hole and playing at second base. Last night he went 1 for 3. Abel Nieves at third is shifted to the green part of the turf, possibly expecting a bunt. It won't come from Oldham as he takes strike one. Oldham filling in at second base for Jake Cahalileo, who has been out of the lineup all series. Cahalileo has been one of the best run producers for Wichita this year, as well as last year. Gutierrez set again, and here comes the 0-1 outside. Gaspora faked a snap throw to first base on Jared McDonald. It's now a ball and a strike to Oldham. Oldham is a rookie who came to Wichita mid-season from Towson, the Pecos League. Oldham a .267 hitter with Wichita this year in 44 games, making his 36th start of the year. Runner going on the 1-1. Up high, Gaspor throws to second base. Tag is not applied in time by Alex Nunez, stealing the base there, McDonald. Brian Peterson threw out 3 of the 5 batters that attempted stolen bases last night. 2 of the successful stolen base attempts were made by Brent Cleveland, and Peterson was able to nab the rest of the runners that tried to steal a base, but McDonald stealing on Gaspora there. The count is 2-1 on Taylor Oldham, and the pitch comes from Gutierrez. Line straight to Alex Nunez. He makes the catch, thought he would try and double up Jared McDonald at second base, but Mojica wasn't to the bag in time, and that will be out number 1. So the top of the order returns for the Wichita Wingnuts. Ryan Corey was hit by a pitch on the first pitch of the start by Danny Gutierrez, and it hit him right near his head and possibly came off of his shoulder blade or the back of his helmet. Gutierrez now with the first pitch to Corey. It's up high for ball 1. Corey last night, 2 for 4, a double and a run scored. Still the best on-base percentage in the American Association. It's at .444. Just in front of his teammate Brent Cleveland, who's in second place at .440. And the 1-0 is chopped foul down the third base line. Bouncing off of the side wall, and it'll be a ball and a strike to Ryan Corey with Jake Lucci waiting on deck for Wichita. A runner on second base and just 1 out in this bottom of the third. No score yet here in this final game of the series. Also, no base hits so far for Wichita. Only base hit has come from Alex Nunez of the Air Hogs way back in the first. A ball and a strike. Gutierrez set, and the runner will go to third on the 1-1. Gaspor the throw to third, and he is in there safely. So 2 stolen bases for Jared McDonald, and it was a little tougher for Gaspor with the right-handed batter there trying to nab the runner at third base, but McDonald slides in safely, and it wasn't even close. Pitch was in there from Gutierrez, so it's a ball and 2 strikes the count to the right-handed batter, Corey, and the infield will shift into the green part of the turf for the Air Hogs with a runner on third and just 1 out. Set at the letters is Gutierrez, and here comes the 1-2. That swung on foul tip off of the mitt of Ryan Gaspora, so Corey will stay alive in the at-bat. Ryan Corey is a 30-year-old veteran from Salt Lake City, Utah, second season with the team, and has emerged as a huge candidate for the team's MVP this year, and that's definitely saying something considering the load of talent that Wichita has this year and the record that they have, 58-26. Corey takes a pitch a little low from Gutierrez, evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Corey has 28 stolen bases on the year as well. That's third best in the league. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Runner on third, 1 out. Gutierrez kicks and delivers. Breaking ball, driven into left. Coming in a few steps, Carter leaps, makes the catch. Now trying to throw home as tagging and scoring is McDonald. to break the scoreless tie here in the bottom of the third. It's 1-0 Wingnuts. So an RBI for Corey to make it 1-0 Wingnuts here in the third. And now it'll be 2 outs and the base is empty for the left fielder Jake Lucci. Laid down a sacrifice bunt in the first. And last night kept up his hot hitting, going 3 for 4 with a double and a run driven in as well as 2 runs scored. Lefty versus righty as the first pitch to Lucci is chopped foul down the first base line, just in front of the Air Hogs bullpen for strike one. Lucci batting over 400 in his first 18 games with Wichita this season. He has a home run that came on Friday night against the Air Hogs and has 10 runs batted in as well. Here comes the pitch from Gutierrez, and it's popped foul down the left-hand side this time. It's no balls and 2 strikes. So Wichita has the first run of the game, even though they have no base hits so far. McDonald drew a leadoff walk in the third, then stole 2 bases. And Ryan Corey drove him in on that sacrifice fly moments ago to make it 1-0 Wingnuts. Now here comes the windup in the 0-2 from Danny Gutierrez. Just misses the outside corner a little bit low. And it's a ball and 2 strikes. David Espinosa on deck. 2 outs, bases empty for Jake Lucci at the plate. Now they're kicking the 1-2 is blocked by Ryan Gaspora into the turf. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, the Air Hogs, after this afternoon's game, will have 15 more games left in the season. And they'll have to try to play spoiler a little bit as they really have no more chance at the playoffs, about to be mathematically eliminated as a swing and a miss there by Lucci ends the third, and Gutierrez has ended each inning with a strikeout to give him 3, but he does allow a run on no hits in that third inning, and it's 1-0 Wingnuts going to the fourth. James Nasser will be with you for the 4th, 5th, and 6th when we come back. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball.
Welcome back to Wichita. The Air Hogs trailing the Wichita Wingnuts. It's 1-0. Top of the 4th inning. Bell Nieves will lead off the inning for Grand Prairie. On the hill, it's starter John Link for Wichita. He'll wind in the first pitch. Is swung on, and it'll be a line shot taking 1 hop to the second baseman, Oldham. He'll spin around on the ground after grabbing it. He'll pop back up and throw over first for the out. 4-3 on the putout, and well, that's a bunch of batters retired in a row for John Link in Wichita. However, that breaks the streak of strikeouts. That was the 8th batter retired in a row, but previous to that, he had 7 straight strikeouts. So that broke the strikeout streak. Now the Airhawks just needed to break that batter retired streak, and it'll be Jason Botts coming to the plate. He's the last batter to not get out for Grand Prairie. He walked back in the first and is only at bat. First pitch is low out of the zone for a ball, 1-0. Botts saw 4 pitches his first at bat, and he walked. Last night, he reached base his first 3 at bats. He singled in his first at bat, walked in his second, and singled in his third as he went 2 for 3. The 1-0 is outside, 2-0. In fact, last night, in his first at bat, he had a 2-0 count before singling. He ended up having a full count in the 4th before walking. Now here comes the 2-0 pitch. A check swing, and he's rung up by Brian Child. He says he went. That's the home plate umpire. Tried to hold up. It was a breaking ball that dropped out of the zone. It would have been ball 3, but Botts just barely couldn't hold up. So Link will peer in for the sign. Now he'll wind, and here comes the 2-1 offering. Swung on and lined foul to the left side. It'll find the seats here at Lawrence Dumont Stadium. Count moves even. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Botts. It's 1-0. Wingnuts leading the Airhogs. Wingnuts have yet to get a hit in the ballgame, yet they have a lead. Jared McDonald walked to start things off in the 3rd inning. He ended up stealing 2nd and 3rd before being driven in on a sacrifice fly to left field. Now, Botts is headed into the dugout. He might be getting a new bat. Let's see what he's doing. He's sitting down on the steps, or a new pad on his leg. Well, he's changing his shoes. He was wearing some spikes, and now it looks like he's throwing on some turf shoes, or more like running shoes. They don't have the metal spikes. So I guess he wasn't getting the traction that he preferred over there in the batter's box on this all-turf field in Wichita. So he's switching up the shoes, and there will be a conference on the mound with home plate umpire Brian Child and some of the infielders for the Wichita Wingnuts. So Botts has his new shoes on. Looks like a pair of black, white, and red New Balance. It's pretty common for a lot of the guys, especially here, when you don't have that clay home plate circled, to wear running shoes or turf shoes and to not wear the spikes. So Botts will dig in back on the left side of the box, and the break-even pitch. It'll find the outside corner for strike 3. He goes down looking. That's the 9th strikeout of the game for John Link. Yes, you heard that right. 9 strikeouts. And there's 2 outs and no one on in the top of the 4th inning. Brian Myro coming to the plate. 2 outs, no one on. It's a 1-0 ball game. The Airhogs trailing by 1 to the Wichita Wingnuts. First pitch is, oh, it was close. I couldn't quite see the call. And they haven't put it on the board yet either. I don't think anyone saw the call. As the pitch is swung on and lined foul to the right, the left side. There we go. Lined to the left side. It was a strike, I do believe, so that would make the count 0-2. The first pitch was on the inside corner. There we go. They put a ball up on there. So I guess that first pitch was a ball, and now it's a 1-1 count to Myro. I think everyone thought it was a strike, but then Brian Child didn't give a call, so a bit of a surprise. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. It'll be well outside as Dean has to reach way out to his left into the other batter's box to make the grab. Counts 2 balls and 1 strike to Myro. Myro did not play in last night's ball game, got a rest. He did play in game 1 and was 0 for 3 with a walk. Here comes the 2-0. It's swung and fouled back. It'll hit off of the roofs of one of the press box, or not the roof, the window of one of the press boxes up here. Down to our left. Counts 2-2. It almost got the open window where the camera is. Now the 2-2 offering. Swung on in line to the right side. It'll bounce on through the infield at the very edge and go into right field. Myro has his first hit of the ball game, and it's the first hit for Grand Prairie since the first inning. In fact, it's just the second hit of the ball game
Left fielder number 20, Madison
total for either team combined. Wichita has yet to register a hit through their first 3 innings. However, they're up in the scoreboard. It's 1-0. Wingnuts over the Airhogs. And Myro's called time over at first base. He's kind of bent over, and first base coach Taka Mayoshi is signaling to the dugout, and the trainer will come out, kind of pointing to his back. I think Myro might have hurt his back on that play, his lower back. We'll see if Myro stays in the game or not, but he's headed towards the bench, and well, someone's coming out of the dugout to run for him. So Myro will leave the game after singling here with 2 outs in the top of the 4th inning of a 1-0 ball game. Wingnuts leading the Airhogs, and the runner coming out is Matthew Burns. So Burns will go into that DH spot in the order as he comes on to pinch run. Stretch out the legs and jog up and down the foul line, get himself loosened up.
trying at first base for the Airhawks, number 2, Matthew Burns.
The next batter up to the plate will be Madison Carter. He struck out in his 1 at bat so far this ball game. That was in the 2nd inning. Carter, the righty, against the righty John Leake. Burns gets his lead over at first base. Here comes the pitch. It's swung on and missed. 0-1. Both starting pitchers today have been pretty dominant. I'm always down for a pitcher's duel. Probably one of my favorite things about baseball. On the 1-0 is swung on and fouled to the right side. I know a lot of people love the home runs. They love the long balls. But give me a 1-0, 2-1 ball game any day, where every base runner is precious. Counts 0-2 to Carter. Here comes the pitch. Runner Burns is moving. It's swung on and missed. Carter goes down swinging for the 2nd time today, and that'll end the 4th. Two more strikeouts up on the board for John Link. He's now at 10 strikeouts in the ball game. And we are headed to the bottom of the 4th here in Wichita. Wingnuts coming up to the plate. They lead 1-0 over the Grand Prairie Airhogs. Well, it's a 1-0 ball game. We're in Wichita. The Grand Prairie Airhogs getting shut out so far, but they're still in the ball game. It's just 1-0. Bottom of the fourth, Wingnuts coming to the plate. David Espinosa leading things off as he'll try his luck against Danny Gutierrez, a starter for Grand Prairie. Gutierrez will wind and fire. It's just a little bit up and out of the zone, 1-0. So far, Gutierrez today has hit a batter, walked a batter, and struck out 3. The 1 run he gave up, Jared McDonald in the third inning. He walked him as the pitch is swung on and hit high into right or into center field. Running back is Baker. He'll stop shy of the warning track and make the catch for the out. 1 away here in the fourth. McDonald ended up stealing a couple of bags before getting driven in on a sacrifice fly to left field. Oh, we got Brent Cleveland. He's the DH, normally the center fielder for the Wichita Wingnuts. Getting a little bit of a rest today as recently acquired center fielder or outfielder Jared McDonald is inserted into the lineup today, and Cleveland will swing and miss at the first pitch, 0-1. Gutierrez looking for a repeat performance of his last ball game as he winds, and here comes the 0-1. It's swung on and missed as well. It's 0-2. In fact, in his last 3 starts, he has yet to give up more than 3 runs. Against Amarillo back on August 7th, he gave up 3 runs over 7 innings, but he took a loss in a 2-3 ball game. Here comes the 0-2, just a bit inside. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. His last outing, though, he took a no decision in a 11-4 loss to the Laredo Lemurs. He threw 6 innings, gave up 1 run on 7 hits, striking out 8. And then against Lincoln, he threw 7 shutout innings, striking out 11. And his next pitch is swung on and hit high into center field. Baker goes back again, but he's at a leisurely trot and will make the grab for the second out of the inning. So 2 flyouts to center. I have the first 2 batters here in the fourth retired. So 2 outs and no one on for the Wingnuts. And Carlo Testa coming to the plate. It's a 1-0 game, Wichita leading Grand Prairie. As both teams' starting pitchers have been on fire today. Another pitch swung on, hit high in the air into center field. This one a little bit more shallow. Baker uses the glove to shield his eyes from the sun, and he'll make the catch. So 3 straight flyouts to center is how Gutierrez will retire the side here in the bottom of the fourth. We head to the top of the fifth. In Wichita, the Wingnuts leading the Airhogs 1-0. All right, welcome back, Airhogs fans. Grand Prairie coming to the plate, top of the 5th inning, as they try and get things going here. They trail by 1. It's 1-0 Wingnuts in the lead. Wingnuts so far have yet to register a hit in the ball game, and 2 hits so far for Grand Prairie. First pitch is in there for a strike to Frazier Hall. He's 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Both pitchers have been dealing today. Danny Gutierrez for Grand Prairie and John Link for Wichita. Link has 10 strikeouts already through the first 4 innings. Here comes the 0-1. It's outside for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. It's a Sunday afternoon last game of this 3-game series in Wichita. Well, Link will fire the 1-1, finding the outside corner. It'll be 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Frazier Hall. Hall batting from the left side against the righty Link. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled back over the screen towards the left side. It'll be 1 ball and 2 strikes still. The Airhogs have a nice split as far as lefties and righties in their lineup goes. And then here comes another 1-2 pitch. It'll be low and away for a ball. 2 balls and 2 strikes, counts evened up. 4 lefties on the roster and a switch hitter now. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. It's swung on and lifted in the air. Shallow center field. Coming in is McDonald. He'll set up shop and make the grab for the out. First out of the 5th inning. We're in the top half. Airhogs trailing the Wingnuts 1-0, and that in this ball game is the 4th straight fly out to center. The Wingnuts went down in order in the bottom of the 4th, flying out to center each time, and now the Airhogs have started things off by flying out to center here in the top of the 5th. Next up is Eric Baker, the center fielder. First pitch from Link. On the outer half of the plate for a strike, 0-1. Baker 0 for 1 today. He struck out one of the 10 strikeouts for Link. And here comes the 0-1. It's popped up, foul. It'll get over the screen and actually get over the roof of everything here in the ballpark. The ball did not come back down. It went over the press box a little bit to our left on a bunt. So it counts 0-2 to Eric Baker. Link peers in. Now he'll wind in the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. A strikeout number 11 for Link on the night. The day. Second out of the inning here in the top of the 5th. Airhogs trailing 1-0 to the Wichita Wingnuts. Let's take a look at your American Association scoreboard. A couple double headers today. One of the doubleheaders, a final already. The Three Rivers Eagles hosting the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks in the matchup of the Can-Am League versus the American Association. Fargo-Moorhead won 10-4 over the Three Rivers Eagles. They'll be starting their next game momentarily. Next batter takes ball 1 outside. It's Ryan Gaspora, the catcher. Top of the 7th in St. Paul, the Saints trailing 7-2 to the New Jersey Jackals. Another Can-Am League versus the American Association matchup. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. It's fouled away. Back against the screen. 1-1. Later today, you'll have the Winnipeg Goldeyes visiting the Sioux Falls Canaries, the Gary South Shore Railcats, and Kansas City taking on the T-Bones. The Amarillo Sox and the Laredo Lemurs will be playing a doubleheader. That first game starts at 5:05. And the Lincoln Salt Dogs and Sioux City taking on the Explorers. Here comes the 1-1. It's bounced in front of home plate. Count moves to 2 balls and 1 strike to Ryan Gaspora, 0 for 1 in the ballgame. Gaspora so far this season, he started in 2 games. So this is his 3rd start. He's 0 for 8 on the year. All right, here comes the 2-1 pitch. Up and away, ball 3. 3 balls and a strike to Gaspora, the catcher. 2 outs in the 5th. Top half of the inning, it's 1-0. Wingnuts leading the Airhogs. Gaspora batting in the 9 hole. That back foot on the back chalk line, which really isn't chalk here in Wichita, as the pitch is swung on and fouled to the left side out of play. With home plate being turf, it's just paint. In fact, that home plate area, it's turf, and yesterday before the game started, the turf fields have this ground up black rubber stuff, kind of like ground up tires. And they had to put some more around the home plate area and broom it in to the turf as the next pitch is fouled away. Count still 3 balls and 2 strikes to Gaspora. I'm not sure if it was just a regular broom or if they had a wire broom that works better, but they're taking handfuls of this shredded black rubber and putting it in the batter's boxes and brooming it in. Or sweeping it in, I guess would be the verb. Here comes the payoff pitch, and it's strike 3 on the outside corner. Gaspora takes it, thought it was ball 4, but he'll have to head back to the dugout and get that catcher's gear back on, as that's the 12th strikeout of the ball game for John Link. He is dealing today, and, well, we'll get to see Danny Gutierrez here coming up in the bottom of the 5th, as he's been dealing today as well. It's 1-0 Wingnuts over the Airhogs. We're headed to the bottom of the 5th in Wichita. Chris McClendon will lead things off in the bottom of the 5th of this 1-0 ball game. The Wingnuts on top of the Airhogs 1-0. McClendon, the third baseman for Wichita. Left-handed hitter. Going against the righty Gutierrez. McClendon so far today 0 for 1 in the ball game. He'll take ball 1 to start things off here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. We are in the midst of a pitcher's duel. One pitcher hasn't given up a hit. The other pitcher has 12 strikeouts as the second pitch is swung and fouled to the left side. 1 ball and 1 strike. After McClendon, it'll be Brent Dean and Jared McDonald for Wichita. McClendon has a 1-1 count on him here currently. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. It's grounded to the right side, right at Botts, taking a hop over there. The first baseman will catch it and take it to the bag himself on a 3 unassisted. Now Brent Dean, today's catcher, giving Chris McMurray a rest, will come to the plate for Wichita. 0 for 1 with a strikeout. In case you missed it last night, David Ortiz of the Boston Red Sox had a historic moment. He hit his 400th home run in a Red Sox uniform. Here comes the first pitch to Dean. It's just a bit outside for a ball, 1-0. He joins Ted Williams and Carl Yastrzemski as the only players to hit 400 home runs while playing with the Red Sox. 1-0 pitch. A check swing. They appealed down the first base, and the umpire, Trent Delmont, says he didn't go. So Dean's ahead of the count 2-0 against Gutierrez. So for Ortiz, it's a pretty big moment as That puts him in a class with two of the greatest Red Sox of all time as the pitch is swung on and grounded up the middle. It'll be Mojica ranging to his left, making the play. He'll throw over to first for the out. 2 up and 2 down here in the bottom of the 5th for Wichita. And it's Jared McDonald, the man who has scored the only run in the ballgame. It's 1-0. Wingnuts leading the Grand Prairie Airhogs, and McDonald walked to lead things off in the 3rd. And really it was his speed that was the reason he scored. He walked, stole 2nd, stole 3rd, and then with 1 out, Ryan Corey hit a sacrifice fly to left field. So had it not been for McDonald's steals, he wouldn't have scored. Here comes the first pitch. It's outside for a ball, 1-0. In fact, Ortiz hit 2 home runs last night. He hit his 400th and then 401st. Here comes the 1-0 pitch, just a little inside, 2-0. Ted Williams had 521 home runs as a Red Sox, and Carl Yastrzemski, known as Yaz, hit 452. They spent their entire careers with the Red Sox. Now the 2-0 pitch is swung on and fouled back to the screen, 2-1. Ortiz was acquired by the Red Sox by Theo Epstein a long time ago. Epstein thought he had a lot of upside, and well, he's been proven right. Epstein now with the Cubs in their front office. Here comes a 2-1. It's outside for a ball. 3 balls and 1 strike to Jared McDonald. In fact, Ortiz was a player that he was picked up by the Red Sox after the Twins didn't want him. He was a player they just didn't want. Now the 3-1 is outside and high. Ball 4. So I'd say he's done pretty well since leaving Minnesota for a guy that the Twins, who at the time were not exactly a great team, someone they didn't think had very much potential. Taylor Oldham comes to the plate, runner on first, 2 outs on the inning. Bottom of the 5th, it's 1-0, Wingnuts leading the Airhogs. In fact, the man with the 1 run is standing on first base. He's walked both times he's been at the plate. Oldham is 0 for 1 today, popped out on the infield. Here comes the first pitch. It's swung on and popped up foul behind home plate. It'll get over everything here in the ballpark. So counts 0-1 to Taylor Oldham, native of Orlando, Florida. Now Gutierrez will throw over to first. McDonald jumping back into the bag ahead of the throw. Oldham, the right-handed batter, against the righty Gutierrez. And here comes the 0-1. It's swung and fouled back to the screen. It'll roll up the slanted screen and then hit off the wall and has seemingly disappeared. It didn't roll back onto the field. It must have gone off the side when it ricocheted off the wall. There's a ballpark in Jacksonville. It's a AA ballpark, the Jacksonville Suns, AA for the Marlins, and they have a screen similar to this, except their screen goes right up to the broadcast booths, maybe a couple feet lower as the next pitch is swung and fouled back. Count still no balls and 2 strikes to Taylor Oldham. This screen slants back up over the seats, but it drops probably a good 10-15 feet below the windows here. But that one in Jacksonville, it's only a few feet, so if it takes a couple of hops and skips, it'll skip right on into the booth. And if you have your windows open, which most broadcasters do, well, the 0-2 pitch will be down and away for a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count to Oldham. And that ballpark, balls are constantly hitting off of the windows of those press boxes. They don't find the broadcast booth too often, but it has happened before. Now the 1-2 pitch, runner's moving, a check swing, it's in the dirt. So McDonald will have himself a steal, and they appealed on to first base, and Trent Delmont, first base umpire, says Oldham didn't go. as he checked his swing up, and it's now a 2-2 count, and McDonald has his third steal of the ball game as he was running on the pitch. So even with it being in the dirt, it's still a stolen bag. McDonald played for Wichita last year, and when they went to the championship, so he certainly knows what it's like to play here in Wichita, and the Wingnuts and their manager, Kevin Hooper, certainly know what he brings to the table. Here now his first game with Wichita this season. Well, the 2-2 pitch is swung on and fouled back to the screen. I think that might have caught Gaspora somewhere. So home plate umpire Brian Schaud will throw the ball back to the pitcher himself, give Gaspora a chance there to catch his breath. Oh, Oldham's fouled off 4 pitches, 2 of them with 2 strikes. Counts even, 2 balls and 2 strikes, a runner on second. It's 1-0, Wingnuts leading the Airhogs. That runner on second's Jared McDonald, the center fielder today for Wichita. He has 3 steals in the ballgame and the lone run of this ballgame. Gutierrez will fire away. The break-even pitch is swung on and lined into left center field. Coming over is Carter. He'll get there in time and make the catch for the 3rd out of the inning. A runner stranded on second for Wichita. It's 1-0. We're headed to the top of the 6th in Wichita. Wingnuts leading the Airhogs. Airhawks come to the plate as they look to put some runs on the board here. They're down by just 1. It's 1-0 Wingnuts over the Airhawks. They have the top of the order, Jimmy Mojica, up, and he swings and misses the first pitch. It was well off the zone, well out of the zone. 0-1 Mojica, 0 for 2 in the ballgame. As the Airhawks try and figure out starter John Link. He's got 12 strikeouts through 5 innings. Here comes the 0-1 pitch, and it's down in the dirt and away. 1-1. Andy and I are talking between innings about just how exciting this ball game is. 2 pitchers at their very best here today as the 1-1 pitch is down and away. 2 balls and a strike to Mojica, as you have Link giving up 2 hits so far and has 12 strikeouts through 5. And, well, as the 2-1 is down and away, 3 balls and 1 strike, and Gutierrez has yet to allow a hit to the Wingnuts and has struck out 3 and just given up 1 run over the first 5 innings. So definitely what you would call a pitcher's duel. And now the 3-1 pitch is swung on and hit a low-hanging fly ball into center field. Moving to his right is McDonald. He makes the catch. At a brisk jog for the first out. Top of the 6th inning, 1 out, no one on for Grand Prairie. They're down by 1. It's 1-0 in favor of Wichita. And Alex Nunez coming to the plate.
Second baseman number 12, Alex Nunez.
He's fourth in the league in batting average. He squares around but pulls back. The pitch is outside. Ball one. Came into the ball game batting .351. Now the 1-0 pitch from Link on the outside corner for a strike. 1-1. In fact, Nunez just hit his first home run the other night of the season. So 53 games and 1 home run, and the guy's batting .351. Now the 1-1 pitch, a check swing. The pitch was away, and third base umpire David Frame says no, he didn't go. So the count's 2-1 in favor of Nunez. Just 34 strikeouts for Nunez in those 53 ball games. Now the 2-1 pitch will be swung on and foul tipped off the catcher. It'll hit Dean. Seems fine though. Count's evened up, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Again, Link with 12 strikeouts through the first 5 innings. He's gotten at least 2 strikeouts in every inning, including striking out the side on both the second and the third. Well, the break-even pitch is swung and fouled back to the screen. Count's still 2-2. In fact, every batter in the Airhogs lineup has struck out at least once today. Now the 2-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Nunez goes down for the second time today swinging. He's now 1 for 3 in the ball game, and that's the 13th strikeout for John Link.
Third baseman number 13, Abel Nieves.
I don't think I've ever seen this many strikeouts in a ball game this early at any level. Well, the first pitch to Abel Nieves. That'll be a ball, 1-0. Nieves 0 for 2 today, struck out in the first, grounded out in the fourth. In fact, he broke up the string of 7 straight strikeouts in that fourth inning with his ground out. Now the 1-0 will find the zone, 1 ball and 1 strike. Link towing the third base side of the rubber, winds and fires. The pitch is swung on and missed. Count moves to 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Link's been around the zone. He's just getting a lot of swings and misses. It is a pretty hot day here in Wichita. At least up in this broadcast booth, it's pretty warm. Sure, on that field of the turf, it's hot as well. And the 1-2 pitch is waved out and missed. That's strike 3. Link gets another strikeout here. And that's 14 in the ball game. And we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. It's 1-0 Wingnuts over the Airhogs. Wingnuts come to the plate. right, welcome back to Wichita. Wingnuts leading the Grand Prairie Airhogs. The Airhogs trailing 1-0 in the ball game, and in the bottom half of the 6th inning, and Ryan Corey will lead things off for Wichita. He's the leadoff man in their order. We'll be batting from the right side. And we did a little research here, and the Wingnuts record for strikeouts in a game, as far as we can tell, was 13, and John Leake now has 14 strikeouts. The pitch to Corey, breaking ball, it'll be just a little inside, maybe a bit high as well. 1-0 is the count to Corey. He still has yet to register an official at bat. He's been to the plate twice as a sacrifice fly in the 3rd, and in the 1st inning he was hit by a pitch as the next pitch finds the zone. It's 1 ball and a strike. But Ryan Hinson on May 23rd in 2013, so last year, pitched 8 innings, struck out 13 batters, and the Wingnuts actually lost the game. That was against New Jersey, the Jackals of the Can-Am League. Now the 1-1 pitch will find the zones. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ryan Corey, the shortstop for Wichita. Corey's led off every game this season for Wichita. He's played shortstop every game for Wichita as well. He's definitely in the MVP race for the Wingnuts team and as well for the league. As the 1-2 pitch was a little bit low. 2-2 the count. You have to say a few Wingnuts have a shot at winning MVP this season. Now the 2-2 pitch has popped up foul over our heads. Count stays 2 balls and 2 strikes. As you have 2 Wingnuts in the top 10 in batting average, Carlo Testa and Brent Cleveland. Ryan Corey's been stellar, though, defensively as well as at the plate. Batting .327 this season, just out of the top 10. Carlo Testa's 10th, batting .331. Ryan Corey's been in the top 10 at different points throughout the season. The break-even pitch is swung on and missed. Strike 3. That's the 4th strikeout of the ball game for pitcher Danny Gutierrez.
The left fielder, number 24,
Now Jake Lucci coming to the plate, the left fielder for Wichita. Wichita going with those camo jerseys today. They wore those in game 1 of the series. He has that back foot on the back line, and the offering from Gutierrez will be a ball low, and it'll actually go through the legs of the catcher Gaspora. But Corey in Cleveland litter the leaderboards in the American Association. Now the 1-0 pitch is swung on and hit on a shallow fly ball to left field. Coming in and making the play is Carter for the 2nd out of the inning. And, well, it's 2 up, 2 down so far in the 6th.
first baseman, number 17,
And so far the Wingnuts have yet to get a hit, although they lead 1-0 over the Grand Prairie Airhogs. This game is just cruising along here. We started at 2:10, and it's not even an hour and 45 minutes into the ball game, and we're almost through 6 here. Here comes the pitch to David Espinoza. It's in there for a strike. 0-1. Espinoza 0 for 2 in the ball game. He flew out twice, once to right, once to center. And Gutierrez on the hill. 0-1 to the 0-1 pitch. Inside, look out, David Espinoza. He dodges the ball. 1-1 the count. You have to think as well for your American Association MVP race. You have to think Casey Harther's in that conversation of Winnipeg, and as well as Travis Danker and John Alonso for Laredo. Now here comes the 1-1 pitch. And it'll be just outside, 2 balls and a strike. Ian Gack was, I believe, in that conversation, but he has spent some time on the DL, so he hasn't played as many ball games as some of the other guys. Now the 2-1 pitch is swung on and hit in the air, shallow right field, actually right center, and drifting over, making the catch on the run is Frazier Hall. That's 3 up, 3 down in the 6th, and well, there's 14 strikeouts on the one side of the scorebook for John Link. On the other side, for Danny Gutierrez, well, he's got a no-hitter through 6 innings. What do you take? You want the 14 strikeouts or you want the no-hitter through 6? Well, we'll see what happens the rest of the way. Taking you through the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings of this ball game, it'll be Andy back to the mic. You're listening to Airhogs Baseball. Airhogs trail the Wingnuts 1-0.
And welcome back, Airhogs fans. Top of the 7th here at Lawrence Dumont Stadium. And if you wanted runs, sorry to say, you're not getting them in this final game of the 3-game set. Wingnuts 1, Airhogs nothing as we start the 7th. Tim Brown on the mound for Wichita on 14 strikeouts. That's a Wingnuts all-time best for a single pitcher in a game. As our 7th inning starts here in Wichita, Jason Botts, the first batter. Botts this afternoon has reached once. One of the few Airhogs batters to actually reach base against Brown in this game. He drew a walk in the first inning. Last time up, struck out looking. And he starts off this 7th, switch hitter batting lefty against John Link, I should say, as he winds up and delivers. That's outside for ball 1. So Tim Brown turning things around against the Airhogs in this 4th start against the team this year. He winds up and delivers the 1-0 to Botts, and it's outside again, 2-0. In his first 3 starts against the Airhogs, Grand Prairie was batting with a .350 average against John Link. He wasn't able to last longer than 5 1/3 in any of those prior 3 starts, but now starting this 7th here, and he gets Botts to check his swing, and he went a little too far around, said home plate umpire Brian Child. It's 2 balls and a strike. After Botts will be the DH Matthew Burns, and left fielder Madison Carter in this top of the 7th. The 2-1 is right down the middle for called strike 2. So right now, John Link a shutout and just a 2-hitter to the Airhogs in the first 6 of this ball game. And here comes the 2-2 delivery, and it's chopped foul down the first base line by Botts. Keeps the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Last time that a Wingnuts pitcher threw a shutout in 9 innings was September 5th in 2013. That was last season when the Wingnuts faced the Airhogs in the playoffs. Chris Smith got a complete game shutout, allowing just 3 hits and a 6-0 victory. Wingnuts swept the Airhogs in the semifinal series last year. Airhogs were the defending South Division champs, and Wingnuts defending Central Division champs. But now Wingnuts looking to win the South Division this year, running away with it. Pitch was just low to Botts on the last delivery from Link, and it's a full count. Now here comes the payoff pitch. It's popped high in the air, behind home plate, going back is the catcher Dean, and it will find the foul screen. Just bouncing over there and now getting stuck into the foul screen between the part where it curves up into the press box and then down to the backstop.
Diabetes is a serious disease and there is no cure. Currently there are over 20
And it's still 3-2 to Jason Botts, the first baseman, with Matthew Burns on deck.
15 seconds, another person is diagnosed with this disease. But there is
Wingnuts with the only run of the game. It came way back in the 3rd inning, a leadoff walk drawn by Jared McDonald. Then he stole 2nd and 3rd base, and that set him up to score on the sacrifice fly by Ryan Corey. So the Wingnuts have the lead despite no base hits through the first 6. Here is the payoff pitch to Botts, and it's popped high in the air again, this time to shallow left. Coming in is Lucci, a few steps, and he will make the grab in shallow left field to sit down Botts, 1 down in the 7th.
baseball. Swing by your local Taco Bell and try the new breakfast menu available
That's 8 consecutive batters sat down by John Link. 14 strikeouts on the afternoon. And really turning things around here in this start. Has 4 wins in his last 5 starts. Now through 6 1/3. And he's over 100 pitches. Now at 106 after that fly out by Bonds. The next batter is Matthew Burns. Link delivers the first pitch to him, and it's swung on and missed by Burns, who came in to pinch run for Brian Myro after Myro reached base on a single in the 4th. The DH for the Airhogs, Myro leaving the game due to back issues. And now Burns comes into the lineup for him. The 0-1 is swung on and missed again. Change up that Burns chased at. And it's 0-2 to Matthew Burns, who was the DH last night and went 1 for 4. He's got 3 home runs in the last 5 games that he's played in for Grand Prairie. His first 3 home runs of his professional career. The 0-2 is outside from Link. And it's a ball and 2 strikes to Matthew Burns, the 24-year-old rookie out of Northwestern State, small college in the state of Louisiana. Righty versus righty, 1 out, bases empty in the top of the 7th inning. 1-0 lead for the Wingnuts here in this pitcher's duel as the 1-2 is down and away once again. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Matthew Burns. On deck, Madison Carter, the rookie left fielder. Grand Prairie just 2 base hits on the night. Wichita 0. Actually, the afternoon, not the night. 2:05 start time here in Wichita in the final game of this 3-game set. Called strike 3. Give him 15 punch-outs on the day for John Link. And Burns will sit down for out number 2. Now the next batter will be Madison Carter. He's 0 for 2 with a couple of John Link's 15 strikeouts on the day. 1 looking and 1 swinging, and he comes up again in this 7th with 2 outs and bases empty. First pitch is on the way from Link, and it's called strike 1 on the inside corner. Madison Carter, the 22-year-old rookie out of the University of Texas, will now await this 0-1. Here comes from Link, and it's on the outside corner again, called strike 2. So Link going right at these Airhogs batters here this afternoon, and it's paid off. 15 strikeouts and looking for number 16 against Carter as he winds, delivers the 2-strike pitch. Check swing, but he couldn't hold up, said Brian Child at home plate, and that will be a 3-pitch strikeout for Link, giving him 16 through 7 innings. Another 1-2-3 inning for Link, and it brings us to the bottom of the 7th here at Lawrence Dumont Stadium. We'll be back with the bottom of the 7th with the score still 1-0 Wingnuts. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back, bottom of the 7th inning, and we've had quite the pitcher's duel this afternoon. Brent Cleveland to lead off this bottom of the 7th for the Wingnuts, who lead it 1-0, despite not being able to grab a base hit here in this game against Danny Gutierrez. Gutierrez now has sat down the last 4. He's also sat down 13 of the last 14 Wingnuts batters, as Cleveland will try to break that streak. He is 0 for 2 this afternoon with a strikeout and a fly out to center. First pitch is grounded to third baseman Abel Nieves, his former teammate, and the throw over to first. 1 pitch, 1 out in the 7th for Danny Gutierrez. Well, take your pick. Would you like your pitcher to get 16 strikeouts, giving up 2 hits, or would you like him to give up a run on no hits? I don't know which one I would choose. I would probably take the 16 strikeouts and no runs. But that can't underscore what Danny Gutierrez has done in this start this afternoon. Truly a phenomenal performance, as the next batter is Carlo Testa. He's 0 for 2, as are many of the batters here into this afternoon's game. He will take a first pitch strike from Gutierrez on the outer edge. Under a breaking ball there. Gutierrez also doing well, keeping his pitch count at a steady pace, now at 87, and here comes number 88 to Testa on the 0-1, just outside the plate, and it's a ball and a strike. Left-handed batter against Gutierrez, the righty on the mound. McClendon, the third baseman, is due up after Testa with 1 out and the base is empty. Now the wind-up in the 1-1. That's on the ground to the second baseman, Nunez. Scoops it up, short toss over to first base, and that'll get Testa back to the dugout on out number 2. So Gutierrez not stopping here in this 7th start of the season with the Airhogs and his 13th start overall. Going back to his time with the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks, both in the early part of this season and all of last year. 2 outs, nobody on for the third baseman, Chris McClendon. Try and guess how many base hits he has this afternoon. That's right, 0. 0 for 2 with a couple of ground outs. And the first pitch is grounded to the first baseman, Jason Botts, and he's down after that ground out. McClendon thought that it may have come off of his leg there and thinking that it was a foul ball, and that's actually going to be the call. The Airhogs defense was going back to the dugout, and McClendon was down on the ground after that ball came off of his leg. Eric Champion is out from the dugout to talk with the umpires here. Trent Delmont, the first base umpire, also held up a foul ball, and Eric Champion can't believe it. Brian Child at home plate also called it foul, but the Airhogs infielders are protesting that it didn't come off of either the leg of McClendon or into foul territory there. And we'll see what the call is going to end up being. It may still be a foul ball there on the first pitch to Chris McClendon. Right now, Eric Champion still talking with home plate umpire Brian Child. And the Airhogs will have to go back to their respective positions here. Champion still chatting things over with Child. I couldn't get a good look at it, and McClendon appeared to react after that ball somehow came off of his foot or his leg. So he was down in pain. Botts fielded that as if it was a normal ground ball to the right side, not coming off into foul territory, but it will be just a foul ball to McClendon and strike 1. So Gutierrez will have to try again here against McClendon to try and retire him. No balls and a strike in what has been a pitcher's duel here this afternoon. The 0-1 just missing the high and outer corner for Gutierrez. It's a ball and a strike. 2 outs, bases empty in the bottom of the 7th. And Gutierrez now delivers, and it's bounced to the right side once again. Nunez will scoop it up and throw to first. Now Gutierrez is hitless through 7 innings here against the Wingnuts, even though his team is down 1-0. And we will go to the 8th inning with the Wingnuts on top by a run, and John Link will try to one-up that performance by Gutierrez in the 8th as we move on into this pitcher's duel here in the final game of this 3-game set. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. Top of the 8th inning. It is still 1-0 Wingnuts as the Airhogs will bat against Mike Zuzalik in for John Link for this 8th inning. John Link, a tremendous performance in this 19th start of the year for him. 7 shutout innings, only 2 hits allowed to the Airhogs, 1 walk, and a Wingnuts record 16 strikeouts in that start for Link. He is in line for the win, but only has a 1-run lead, and Zuzalik comes in as the setup man for Wichita. First batter he'll face is Frazier Hall. And the opening delivery is called strike 1 to Frazier, who's 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a fly out to center. It's almost an accomplishment for these Airhogs batters to say that you actually put the ball in play against John Link, who has 16 strikeouts. So that's 16 of the 21 outs that he got in this game. Or by way of the punch out, as this is hit high in the air to left field, but it will drift foul and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes to Frazier Hall. Zuzalik this year for the Wichita Wingnuts has appeared a total of 38 times, has an ERA of 3, a record of 2-0. And he appeared in last night's contest as well, delivers the 0-2 a bit high and outside to Frazier Hall. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Zuzalik got a scoreless 1-2-3 inning in the 8th with a strikeout to set up Alex Hinshaw for the save in the Wingnuts 4-1 victory last night to take the series here in Wichita against the Airhogs. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Zuzalik with the kick and the pitch. A little high again to Frazier, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. After him will be Eric Baker and Ryan Gaspora, the 7-8-9 part of the lineup, due up in the top of the 8th for the Airhogs, who trail at 1-0 despite Danny Gutierrez allowing no hits to the Wingnuts through 7. As the pitch comes to the plate, and it's high again, and Frazier works the count full after falling behind 0-2. So through 7 innings, John Link struck out 16 batters. The previous Wingnuts record for strikeouts in a game by a pitcher was 14, and that was set, or 13 I should say, that was set back last year on May 23rd, Ryan Hinson. And the opening batter against the reliever Mike Zuzalik, Frazier Hall, he draws a walk on a full count after falling behind 0-2. So a rare base runner for the Airhogs here in this game comes in the 8th inning, and they would like to take advantage of that as the next batter is Eric Baker. Man on first and nobody out. Baker tonight has struck out swinging twice to John Link. Third baseman Chris McClendon shifted into the green part of the turf, possibly expecting a bunt. And it may come from a guy like Baker, and it does. He squares it right in front of the pitcher's mound. It slowly rolls. McClendon barehands it, throws to first, and he just got the out. Espinosa had to reach behind the runner Baker, it appears, because the throw from McClendon was just to his left, and they just do get the out at first base, moving Frazier Hall to second on the sacrifice bunt there. So 1 out and a runner in scoring position for Ryan Gaspora. On the 5-3 put out on the sac bunt. Gaspora tonight also a couple of strikeouts, 1 swinging, 1 looking in the 3rd and 5th respectively. Left-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher, a runner on second base for the Airhogs, and only 1 out in the top of the 8th. They trail by a run. And they would love to come even with the Wichita Wingnuts and give Gutierrez a chance to not get a loss despite his no-hit performance so far in this outing, as Gaspora swings and misses at strike 1 from Zuzalik. Zuzalik, a former member of the Texas Rangers minor league system, played for Single-A Myrtle Beach last year, lives in Georgetown, Texas, looks at second where Frazier is leading off. That is line straight and past the glove of Espinosa going into right field. Frazier Hall is being waved home. Gaspora stays at first, and the throw is cut off. Airhogs tie it up at 1 here in the top of the 8th. On an RBI single by Ryan Gaspora, his first base hit of the season, and it comes at a tremendous time for the Airhogs, tying it up at 1 apiece here in the top of the 8th inning on the road against the South Division leading Wichita Wingnuts. So John Link will get a no decision here against the Airhogs despite his 16 strikeout performance and 7 shutout innings. Zuzalik giving up the lead for Wichita, and the next batter is Jimmy Mojica. Mojica this afternoon 0 for 3, has 1 strikeout. He's put the ball in play twice, a couple of flyouts, chops it right over the head of the pitcher. Fielding it, Corey. He steps on the bag, goes to first, a 6-3 inning ending double play. And the Wingnuts infield makes sure that the damage isn't more than it has been in this top of the 8th. 1 run scores for the Airhogs, however, on 1 big hit by Ryan Gaspor, an RBI single. And we go to the bottom of the 8th, and trotting out to the mound once again, Danny Gutierrez. No hits through 7 innings. And the Airhogs now are tied at 1 with the Wingnuts going to the bottom half of the 8th here in Wichita. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. We start the bottom of the 8th here in Wichita. The Grand Prairie Airhogs have tied things up with the Wingnuts at 1 apiece. And Danny Gutierrez is back on the mound. No hits allowed through 7 innings, and he's sat down the last 7 Wingnuts batters. He'll face the 7, 8, 9 part of the lineup. First batter is Brent Dean, who is 0 for 2 with a strikeout looking and a ground out to shortstop. Dean, right-handed batter against Gutierrez, the right-handed pitcher. Gutierrez so far in this start, no hits allowed and 4 strikeouts, 2 walks allowed. They've both been given to Jared McDonald, the center fielder, who is on deck here in this bottom of the 8th. First pitch to Dean, and that's a called strike on the inside edge. Well, Gutierrez just threw pitch number 93, so doing a pretty good job of keeping his pitch count at a nice rate. Here in this start this afternoon, the next pitch is low and away, and it'll move the count to a ball and a strike to Brent Dean. Dean last night went 0 for 3, and the game prior to that one, Dean was 3 for 4 with 2 runs scored. The pitch is popped high in the infield. Jason Bott shielding his eyes with his glove, and he will drift just into foul territory to catch that pop fly out from Brent Dean. And now it's 7 1/3 innings with no hits allowed by Danny Gutierrez. Next batter will be Jared McDonald, who has reached twice tonight on a couple of walks, has the only run for the Wingnuts. That was way back in the 3rd, and he has 3 stolen bases in the game. So Gutierrez would like to sit him down so he's not an impact on the base pads in this 8th inning with the score tied. First pitch is a bunt, and it's chopped right back to the pitcher's mound. Gutierrez a bare hand, a throw to first, and he gets him out. And Gutierrez getting a lot of confidence after that ground ball out right back to the pitcher. McDonald drew a couple of walks against Gutierrez his first 2 times up, and Gutierrez sits him down here in the 8th inning. 2 outs, base is empty. Taylor Oldham will be the next batter. Oldham 0 for 2, a line out to the second baseman in the 3rd, and a fly out to left. That was back in the 5th inning. Gutierrez with definitely his best start of the season. No hits through 7 2/3, and the first pitch to Oldham is down for ball 1. Well, Gutierrez has appeared a few times in relief, but in a start this season, the lowest amount of hits that he's allowed was 3. That was in his first start against Kansas City way back on May 22nd, his first start of the year with the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks. He delivers a strike on the next pitch to Oldham. It's 1-1 the count. One ball and one strike, righty versus righty as Gutierrez winds and delivers. That's driven into left, and it's going a long way. Madison Carter near the wall. It bounces off the wall, and it goes back into left field, and a double will break up the no-hitter for Danny Gutierrez. Taylor Oldham with an extra base hit to end Danny Gutierrez's no-hitter here in the 8th inning. And Gutierrez now has to try and recuperate and focus to get out of this 8th with a runner at second base and still 2 outs, and out from the dugout is Eric Champion. He might be yanking his starting pitcher here with Tyrell Harris warming in the pen, and he will do so. A tremendous outing for Danny Gutierrez, just giving up his first hit of the game there to Taylor Oldham, a double off of the left field wall. Only allowing one run in the 3rd inning, and he gets congratulatory slaps from his infield there, and he will walk back to the dugout. It'll be Tyrell Harris from the pen to try and get out of this 8th. Runner on second, 2 outs, and it's a tie ball game at 1 apiece here in the bottom of the 8th. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhawks baseball. Bottom of the 8th inning. Airhogs are tied with the Wingnuts at 1 apiece. Tyrell Harris is in from the pen to relieve Danny Gutierrez here. There's a runner on second base and 2 outs. The batter is Ryan Corey. Corey just 1 official at bat. That's a strikeout swinging in the 6th. He's been hit by a pitch, and he also drove in a run on a sacrifice fly, and he'll be plunked again. Hitting him in the back is Tyrell Harris on the first pitch, and Corey will take first base. Second time that Corey has been plunked somewhere near the head area. He was punked way back in the 1st inning by Gutierrez, and when you hit your first batter in the 1st inning, you may be in for a rough day, but that wasn't the case with Gutierrez, who left the game with 7 2/3 innings pitched, and he just allowed his first base hit of the game to Taylor Oldham, a ground rule double to left field. And he is still at second base with that double, and it's now runners at first and second for the Wingnuts here. Gutierrez leaving after 7 2/3, just 1 run allowed way back in the 3rd inning, and 1 hit, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Tyrell Harris, who's usually the setup man to Dakota Watts, is in to try and get out of this 8th inning for the Air Hogs and keep the score tied at 1. The batter is Jake Lucci. Harris set at the belt to Lucci, the left-handed batter. Here comes the first pitch, and it's called strike 1 on the outside corner. Tyrell Harris this season for the Air Hogs has pitched pretty effectively, has appeared 25 times, has an ERA of 4.30, a record of 4-3, pitched a total of 29 1/3 innings. He's set again with runners at first and second. The 0-1 is driven high in the air to center field. Baker still striding back near the warning track and finally makes the catch. And Harris slaps the glove of his catcher Ryan Gaspora, getting out of the 8th without a run allowed to the Wingnuts. No runs, 1 hit, 2 men left. After 8, it's tied at 1, going to the 9th here in Wichita. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Top of the 9th inning here in Wichita. 1 run apiece for the Air Hogs and the Wingnuts as Alex Nunez will lead off the 9th for Grand Prairie. Nunez has one of the 3 total base hits for each of these 2 teams here this afternoon. It was a single way back in the 1st, and Mike Zuzalik will deliver a pitch upstairs on the first pitch to him for ball 1. Last 2 times Nunez has been up, he struck out swinging to John Link, who finished through 7 innings with 16 strikeouts and no runs allowed to the Air Hogs. The 1-0 is in there for called strike 1 to Nunez, a ball and a strike, the count now. Nunez will be followed by Abel Nieves and Jason Botts, 2-3-4 part of the lineup for Grand Prairie, and that's the right part of the lineup to bring to the plate if you want to try and break a tie. Squaring around a bunt is Nunez, and he pulled back just enough to look at ball 2, a little bit outside from Zuzalik. So Zuzalik allowing a run in the 8th inning, allowing the Air Hogs to tie it up. Ryan Gaspora with a hit past David Espinosa actually ruled an error to Espinosa, so no base hit for Gaspora and no earned run charged to Mike Zuzalik. Also no RBI to Gaspora as the pitch from Zuzalik is upstairs again. 3 balls and 1 strike to Alex Nunez. Left-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher. We're tied at 1 apiece. Air Hogs out hitting the Wingnuts 2-1. Here's the pitch from Zuzalik, swung on, foul, tipped off of the catcher's foot, it appears. Brent Dean now sitting on the ground, and he'll get a little bit of time to get to his feet, and a little bit slow to do so as a new ball will be given to Mike Zuzalik, a full count to Alex Nunez. So we've had a real pitcher's duel here this afternoon at Lawrence Dumont Stadium. The home pitcher, John Link, 7 shutout innings and 16 strikeouts, only 1 walk and 2 base hits allowed. And his counterpart, Danny Gutierrez, did allow 1 hit or 1 run in the third, but no hits through 7 2/3. Just allowed a double to Taylor Oldham in the bottom of the 8th and then was yanked. Tyrell Harris getting out of the inning. This is driven into right field by Nunez, but straight at Carlo Testa as he goes a few steps to his right side to make the catch. And that'll be out number 1 in the 9th. So now that'll bring up the next batter, Abel Nieves.
Third baseman number 13, Abel Nieves.
Nieves last night went 0 for 4, and this afternoon he is 0 for 3 with 2 swinging strikeouts. Righty versus righty as Alex Nunez sets up against his former team here, trying to deliver a base hit for the Air Hogs as he looks at a pitch high for ball 1. We're tied at 1. The Air Hogs and Wingnuts have played 2 extra inning games against each other this season, and they're 1-1 against each other in those games. And the pitch is bounced to the shortstop, Ryan Corey. He makes the pick and the throw over to first base. 2 down for Zuzalik in the 9th. Well, the last time that the Wingnuts lost an extra inning game here at their home stadium, it was actually against the Air Hogs. It was back on June 13th when Frazier Hall delivered a 2-run RBI single in the top of the 11th inning to give the Air Hogs a 3-1 lead, and they eventually went on to win that game. Wingnuts have won an extra inning game against the Air Hogs at their home stadium as the pitch from Mike Zuzalik to the next batter, Jason Botts, is on the outside corner for called strike 1. Botts this afternoon has reached once on a walk way back in the first inning. Last time up, he flew out to left field. He is 0 for 2. Here's the 0-1 from Zuzalik, and it's on the outside edge again, called strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes to Botts. 2 outs and the base is empty. Botts switch hitter batting lefty against Zuzalik, the righty. He sets at the belt. Here comes the 0-2 to Botts. That is chopped high over the pitcher to the middle. And fielding on a short hop is the second baseman. That is Oldham. Throws across his body to beat Botts by just about a full step at the bag. And we now are through 8.5 innings here at Lawrence Dumont Stadium. 1-1 is the score here as the Wingnuts will look for a walk-off run here against the Air Hogs in the bottom of the 9th. If not, then we'll go to extras here in Wichita. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Welcome back to Wichita, Kansas at Lawrence Dumont Stadium. We head to the bottom of the 9th. Here in Wichita, Air Hogs and Wingnuts are tied at 1 run apiece, and Tyrell Harris will be out on the mound again in relief for Grand Prairie. Got out of that 8th inning, getting Jake Lucci to fly out to center field. He also plunked one batter, Ryan Corey, in the 8th, but was able to get out without the Wingnuts scoring a run, and now we'll try to keep them scoreless here in this 9th. First batter is David Espinosa, and it's outside on the first pitch for ball 1. Espinosa this afternoon, 3 flyouts, 2 to right field and 1 to center. 0 for 3 in the ballgame. Switch hitter batting lefty against Harris, the righty. And Tyrell Harris will wind and deliver It is low over the plate, and it's 2-0. Tyrell Harris is the oldest member of the Air Hogs pitching staff. He's not listed as a veteran, but certainly serves as one and is a mentor to a lot of pitchers on this bullpen, as well as some of the starters. The next pitch is hit high in the air to right field. Frazier Hall backing towards the warning track. He looks up, and it is gone. A walk-off home run by David Espinosa. And this will give the Wingnuts a 2-1 victory at their home stadium. The first batter of the ninth sends it deep over the right field wall, and they mob David Espinosa at home plate after the walk-off victory. And the Wingnuts earn a series sweep against the Grand Prairie Airhogs. They rip off David Espinosa's jersey there in celebration of their 2-1 walk-off victory. That is Espinosa's first home run as a member of the Wingnuts, and it comes at a great time, gives them a 2-1 victory over the Airhogs, and we'll be back to dissect it when we come back here to Lawrence Dumont Stadium to wrap things up on post-game recap. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back to Lawrence Dumont Stadium in Wichita, Kansas, and the Grand Prairie Airhogs once again swept for the second straight series here on the road, not able to pick up a win on this six-game road trip. They fall to the Wichita Wingnuts 2-1, and the final hit was given by David Espinosa, a walk-off solo shot. The first batter of the ninth inning ends it here in the bottom of the ninth and gives the Wingnuts a 2-1 walk-off victory at their home stadium. Getting the win was Mike Zuzalik, and the loss went to Tyrell Harris, but that really wasn't the story of this game. Both starting pitchers for the Wingnuts and the Airhogs pitched phenomenally in this afternoon's game. First, we'll start with John Link. 7 shutout innings and an Wingnuts record, 16 strikeouts in the game. Only 1 walk and 2 hits allowed to the Airhogs on the afternoon. And just a great pitching performance against the Airhogs. He once again will not get a decision in this start against Grand Prairie. His prior 3 starts were also no decisions, but he lasted longer than 5 1/3. So that's an improvement for him against the Airhogs, and certainly does it in impressive fashion, striking out 16 batters. The previous record for the Wingnuts pitchers in a game was 13, set back last year, and Link beating that by a pretty wide margin in this afternoon's start. Now let's go to the Airhogs pitcher, Danny Gutierrez, and he was hitless, or allowed no hits, in 7 2/3. He did allow 1 run in the 3rd inning. Drawing a walk was Jared McDonald, the first batter, and then he stole 2nd and 3rd base and scored on a Ryan Corey sacrifice fly. So Danny Gutierrez allowed no base hits in that inning, and the first 7 of this game, he got 2 batters in the 8th inning and allowed a double to Taylor Oldham. That was when he was yanked by Eric Champion, and Tyrell Harris entered into the game, got out of the 8th, but then allowed the solo shot by Danny Espinosa to end it 2-1 here at Lawrence Dumont Stadium. So the Wingnuts moved to 59 and 26 on the year, widen the gap even further between them, Laredo, and Grand Prairie in the South Division. Grand Prairie, meanwhile, moving their record to 36 and 49 on the year, and their winning streak now extends, or their losing streak extends to 6 losses, and that's also the worst losing streak that they have had all season. The previous high was 4, and now it extends to 6 after this road trip. 0-6 on the 6-game road trip, and they will return home tomorrow for a game against the Laredo Lemurs at 7:05 p.m., James Nasser's former team. First pitch is scheduled at 7:05 p.m., and the Airhogs will try to turn things around at home. They've got 15 games remaining in the season, and 11 of those 15 games will be at Quick Trip Park. So that is something in their favor that they would like to take advantage of to try and finish this 2014 season on a high note, even though the playoffs look very unlikely at this point, about to be mathematically eliminated from the wild card race. Let's take a look at your final lines for this afternoon's game. The Wichita Wingnuts walk off the win it, scoring 2 runs on 2 hits, and they commit 1 error and leave 3 men on base. The Grand Prairie Airhogs, 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 3 men left as well. Airhogs winless on the 6-game road trip, and they will head back home to Quick Trip Park to start 3 games against their other division rival and interstate rival, the Laredo Lemurs. 3 games starting Monday night at 7:05 p.m. And we hope to see you then at independentprofessionalbaseball.com. That's where we'll broadcast it live at home. Thank you for tuning in to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball live on Ustream here on our road trip. For James Nasser, I'm Andy Humphrey. Once again, our final score, the Wichita Wingnuts 2, the Grand Prairie Airhogs 1. We will see you tomorrow on Monday at 7:05 p.m. for Lemurs versus Airhogs at Quick Trip Park. Until then, for James Nasser, I'm Andy Humphrey. So long from Lawrence Dumont Stadium in Wichita, Kansas. You've been listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. We'll see you next time, everyone.